Stephen and I met at the College of William and Mary. We were both in a band, believe it or not. I was the band leader and I needed a drummer, and he was the only available person who owned a drum set. So somebody said, you should really meet this guy. He owns his own drum set. And I was like, I don't care if he has purple skin. He's joined the band. And he really caught my eye because he was quiet and thoughtful and respectful before he would speak. And he liked to go on adventures and try new things, and I liked to do that. Coming to Ava Laurenne was huge for me because our original wedding, as it were, was marred pretty seriously. It turns out there was a person present at the wedding who had been responsible for hurting me very badly when I was a little girl. And that wasn't really revealed. I knew I'd been hurt, but I didn't know the identity of the person who did it. So the entire process leading up to our wedding was really, really plagued with anger and anxiety and fear and frustration, and I was really, really torn up, and felt like I knew Stephen loved me, but I did not feel like I deserved to be happy or to have a nice wedding. I didn't feel like I was worth having a nice dress. And to make it worse, at the actual wedding ceremony, the perpetrator was present. Due to these circumstances that were beyond our control, by the time we left, we were just completely exhausted, and Stephen was like, you know, I'm just not sure that's how that was supposed to go. Fast forward 5 years later, we've done a lot of work. We've been to hell and back, and the perpetrator was apprehended, things were dealt with, justice was done, and Stephen said, I think we deserve a second shot. I think we should do it again. We're going to exchange our vows again, and we're going to say, we've made it. We made it through this awful, awful thing, and we're starting again. That chapter is done. We're moving forward. So I went to a couple of different shops just to get the experience. But really, Ava Laurenne was the first place where I felt welcomed, and I felt seen and listened to. And Gabe and Wendy were really great about understanding that I wasn't a first-time bride who was all googly-eyed and overwhelmed. But I had hurt. I had experienced hurt before, and I wanted to experience joy. And they jumped into it, man. They were ready. I kind of outlined what I was looking for, and they pulled options. And at first I thought the option, I was like, I don't really know if that's really what I'm looking for. It doesn't look right, you know, on the hanger. But they said, trust us, go with it. So, had help putting on the dresses, and then what Wendy would do is she'd stand you up in front of the mirror and fluff everything out and say, what comes to mind? And it was just kind of this free-form conversation of like, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? And she listened, and she cared, and she wanted to know, and she wanted to make adjustments based on those things. And I thought, my gosh, someone is listening to me. You know, somebody actually cares what I think about me. And for the first time, I started to feel a little bit special, and a little bit like maybe I did matter after all. Finally, we came to this one, and again, on the rack, I was like, probably not.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'd gotten to know Wendy enough to trust her. So we put it on, we fluffed it out, stood up on the podium, and she said, what comes to mind? And I was about to say something, and she goes, wait, let me add a belt. And she runs over and grabs a belt and puts a belt on it. And all of a sudden, the only words that came to mind were my dream. I didn't even know this was possible. I looked real but beautiful at the same time, and I looked like I was worthy of being treasured and being valued, and I started to cry, and my friends started to cry, and it was a terrible mess. And I wouldn't have believed until then that that was a possible experience to have, but it was probably one of the more memorable moments of my life. So since finding my dress at Ava Laurenne and celebrating and having a great time, we had a plan. We were going to purchase the dress the following month. So I said goodbye to Wendy, goodbye to everybody at the shop. Had, so many just wonderful feelings building up. It was very exciting. And then I didn't call. And I know that they had to be wondering, like, where did she go? She found her dress. It was a really big deal. Why is she not calling us back? A couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after finding the dress and having this great experience, I ended up being rushed to the hospital. Was having a lot of really, really strange symptoms, and I looked funny. I was all puffy, which was not good for the ego. And what we ended up discovering after a long series of tests and biopsies and this and that was that I had actually been diagnosed with kidney disease, which apparently sometimes can just happen to young people, especially women, but people in general. And so everything got thrown up in the air. Here we were, we're still we're young, we have this great plan, we're gonna do a 5-year anniversary celebration, it's gonna be great, and then we're gonna do this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden the doctors were looking at us saying, you need to live 30 days at a time because we can't promise what's going to happen. There was a period of time where we knew what the disease was, but we didn't know what type it was. And there's one particular type where you could pretty much be done within 2 years. Very scary. And everything just screeched to a halt. And it was what really matters. If we only have 2 more years left together, what do we do with that? So there was a lot of thinking and a lot of praying and a lot of crying and a lot of waiting for the doctors to tell us what was going on. But the doctor said you shouldn't travel, you shouldn't do anything physically risky at all, which is hard because we like to go camping and hiking and fishing and swimming. Just stay in Fredericksburg, be very low impact, and take a ton of medicine, and we'll check in every 30 days and see how things are going. So basically, it was still plan on every 30 days because we don't know when we might have to pull you back in for surgery, pull you back in for this, pull you back in for that. You could have a crisis and we could have to treat it. And we just sat down and looked at each other, and I said, I'll cancel the dress. We only know we have these 30 days. We don't know where I'm gonna be next summer. We don't know if I'm gonna be in the hospital, if I'm gonna be hugely impacted by side effects from the drugs. There's no guarantee. Nobody knows. And Stephen thought about it for a while, and he leaned forward and said, we're not gonna live that way. We're gonna live with the hope and the confidence that you will be here, that you will be okay, and you're gonna walk down the garden path towards me on our 5th anniversary, and we're gonna exchange our vows, and you're gonna be wearing that dress. Go get your dress. So it almost became like a rallying cry for us. It's like, go get your dress became not just, oh, go get this pretty fluffy thing that you're gonna wear for one day. It turned into have hope, believe that it's gonna be okay, and believe that what we're doing matters. But the emphasis has shifted. It's no longer just we just want to have a good time or redo the past. Now it's we're gonna try to live, and we're gonna try to live in such a way that everything we do every single day has an impact on another person. Because if I'm gone in a year, God forbid, or 2, then I'm gone. And the only things that still remain are love, and faith, and hope, and people. And people are the only thing that you can consistently find and impact and talk to and change that will carry on. So our ceremony isn't just about us anymore. It's about the people in our lives and about saying, thank you for getting us this far. And will you please stand with us as we go farther? And to a certain extent, that's what this interview is about. Is that I want you to know that you might not know how long you have, and you might not know what's going to happen, but you do know that you're making a promise to someone that you're going to stand with them for their entire life, however short or long it is, and you're not going to give up on them, And if something really, really bad happens, you're gonna lean down and say, go get your dress. Keep living. That's why we're here.